A guy pulls up in a Lamborghini Aventador. The door swings upward, and he steps out onto the pavement. The crowd watches him and naturally assumes the luxury car is the source of his success. 10 years ago, he was living on bus tickets. While everyone else was out, he stayed in to build a business. This vehicle is the result of a decade of discipline and decisions made when no one was watching. We all see that luxury outcome and desire it. Yet the reality is that most people are exhausted, stuck living paycheck to paycheck, trying to mimic the appearance of wealth without building the foundation. If you are working hard and still broke, it is likely not a failure of effort. It is a biological default setting. To understand why so many of us struggle with money, we have to realize that our own brains are secretly hardwired to sabotage our financial futures. In behavioral finance, researchers study cognitive biases. These are unconscious psychological shortcuts our minds take to process information, and they routinely override logical financial decisions. Driven by evolutionary survival instincts, we experience fear and greed as present bias and loss aversion. We are wired to prioritize immediate comfort and the illusion of job security over the slow process of building wealth. This chart shows exactly how these emotional triggers trap people in the rat race. You work hard for a monthly salary, and the moment you get a raise, you spend it on a lifestyle upgrade, leaving your asset column empty. Then comes the middle-class illusion. We buy expensive houses or cars on 30-year mortgages and assume they are assets. But if it takes money out of your pocket every month, it is a liability. The salary trap is a perfectly designed psychological cage. As long as fear and greed dictate your spending, a higher paycheck will only lead to higher expenses. Escaping this cycle requires an override of your psychological operating system. A better-paying job will not fix the underlying code. Psychologist Carol Dweck mapped out how we view our own abilities, starting with the fixed mindset. Someone with a fixed mindset believes their abilities are static. They fear failure because they see it as a reflection of their self-worth. When confronted with a financial hurdle, their default response is, "I can't afford it." Contrast that with the growth mindset. These individuals view failure as data. They work to acquire new skills rather than just earning a paycheck, and they reframe obstacles by asking, "How can I afford it?" This emotional intelligence is crucial. When markets crash, growth-minded investors suppress their cognitive biases. Where the herd panics, they see a window to buy. Managing these emotional triggers ensure that financial volatility and personal setbacks become the tools you use to acquire assets, while the herd retreats. Once the software is upgraded, you apply the primary rule of financial literacy. The poor work for money. The rich have money work for them. They do this by acquiring income-generating assets. These are stocks, real estate, or businesses that put cash in your pocket whether you are physically present or not. To understand this mechanic, look at the founder of McDonald's, Ray Kroc, and the difference between a profession and a business. Kroc spent his days selling hamburgers to grow the brand. However, he directed his income toward a different asset class, the land beneath those restaurants. He made his money in fast food, but he built his wealth in real estate. The wealthy use a corporation. A business earns, spends to operate, using deductions and exemptions, and only pays taxes on what's left. Individuals play a different game. They earn a salary, are taxed immediately, and survive on whatever remains. True financial literacy is the disciplined act of minding your own business. It requires focusing your psychological energy on acquiring assets, rather than spending your life minding an employer's business for a heavily taxed salary. The divider between the rich and the poor is operating from a mindset of abundance, rather than a mindset of scarcity. When Alexander Graham Bell offered his telephone patent to Western Union for $100,000, they rejected him. Instead of giving up, he tapped into his inner hero and built a communication empire of his own. This invention proves that wealth is created by identifying opportunities that others dismiss. The telegraph monopolies were paralyzed by scarcity-bound thinking. They couldn't see past the wires they already owned, and they missed the future entirely. Money is an illusion. The only recession-proof asset you will ever possess is a highly trained, financially literate mind. Your bank balance tracks the accumulation of your past financial decisions. The choice is between immediate comfort and future assets. Prioritizing the appearance of wealth or the safety of a paycheck creates the very cycle we've just looked at. Audit your biases. Shift your focus to building assets. Start overriding your default programming today. because action always beats inaction.